3D printing, how I got started with 3D printing. It was 2008. I was in a lecture hall. I was in a lecture hall in one of these architecture classes, and it was introduction to 3D modeling. And in that 3D modeling, because 3D printing comes from 3D modeling, they kind of go hand in hand. Our college had purchased Z Corp 310 3D printer, just white powder 3D printer, but I had never seen one of these before. So when I saw those models on the table, and I was in this lecture hall with all these people, I just fell in love, like immediately. I saw it right there. I was like, this is the future. I get it. I want to do that like right now. So it got me so excited. Like I can still remember how excited I got. And I ended up right that day, I went home and I was not Googling, I was watching YouTube videos on how to run this printer. And within 24 hours, I made a file and went back to my teacher, which was a studio teacher for architecture. And I said, hey, I have a file here. It can be printed. It's guaranteed to be printed. So she said, okay, relax. Don't get so excited. Let's go tomorrow to the department head and try it out. So we tried it out, and it worked. And when that worked, I mean, I can't even imagine to explain like the excitement when you design something and you get exactly what you want. It was like the best feeling ever. And they just gave me a job like that, like right away. They said, hey, do you want to work for me? The department head said. I said, I would love to work for you, and I'd love to work in this department and in the digital manufacturing lab. So from that day on, I kind of forgot like what I was going to school for. Like I went to school for architecture, and architecture became like a secondary thing. And my whole mind was just like occupied by additive manufacturing and all the possibilities, and like how to just get the whole world excited. Like, let's just make this, guys, because it's going to change the whole world. Yeah, definitely. Haptics, or the surface texture and the color, are super crucial, because without that, if you want to make something, then you have to go find the materials, and the likelihood of finding the exact materials that you're looking for is very slim. And then even if you do find the materials that you're looking for, maybe the prices don't work out, or you can't afford them, and you can't end up with what you really want. And maybe the colors that you're mixing or you're selecting from the color wheel, which is infinite possibilities, you may not find, or you find the leather or some kind of material that has a perfect feel, but you cannot get it in that color. So trying to get the two in the traditional world, it's almost impossible. And to have the ability to just think of things in advance and get what you want one-to-one, I mean, that's just world-changing. So how did I come up with the idea for the shoe that was displayed with Siemens in collaboration with DyeMansion, and what I collaborated with Nolan Kim? I really care about shape. It's like, out of everything, all the components of a product. So you have materials, you have the silhouette or the shape, and then you have the story behind it, or the meaning behind it. Shape is like where I have invest most of my energy. It's something that, and how I choose shape, it's really dynamic and really deep. The way I do it is, it doesn't come from one place. It comes from my subconscious a lot, because it's, instead of putting together a mood board like I used to do in the very beginning and sort of like breaking it down in a logical way, I kind of do that, but over a long period of time. So I might think of something for a year, and then I never use a piece of paper. I used to do, but ever since I got into 3D, I just don't do that anymore. I just sit there in the computer and I experiment. What I do is I push and I pull shapes, and how I choose of how it should look, every little thing that I do, like every little curve that I move, it makes me feel a certain way. And then when I stop is when I feel good. Like I actually feel it's like when you feel healthy and you've eaten and you've exercised and you feel so good, like that's how I feel. Or when you look at an attractive person, you look at an attractive person or an attractive animal or some kind of shape that's like smooth and it just makes you feel good. And that's how I choose where I should stop, because you can push and pull forever, but that's how I choose of like when to stop. And so I have to start somewhere, right? So sometimes I start with like one detail, and then from that detail I expand the rest. Sometimes I start with the whole shape and then I shrink down to the details. It all depends of like, I use this thing as an anchor. Like I need one anchor to start with, and it can be the story, like it could mean something, and I start with that, and then that inspires me. So it's kind of like a journey. Like you start somewhere and then it grows itself and you end up with something that so instead of thinking of it ahead of time, like all at once, I just need one little light bulb to like start, and then I don't even know what I'm gonna end up with. I just end up with whatever. Can 3D printing and additive manufacturing as a whole transform the footwear industry? It absolutely can, and this is why. So I'm also involved with the traditional footwear industry, and I've seen it. I've gone to China and watched the whole supply chain beginning to end. And it's torture, let me tell you. It's so hard because it starts with an idea, right? It starts with an idea. Let's call this A. And then by the time the designer gets the product, the designer doesn't get A, but the designer gets some G or J or something, because every step that this idea goes through, there's interpretation with the traditional method. So the pattern maker is going to interpret it and it's going to change it a little. And then the person that does the outsole, the tooling bottom, or the group that does the tooling bottom, they're going to change it. And then there's the machine limitation. And then there's factories moving around because of all sorts of other things unrelated with the design or with the performance, things such as financial things or legal things that make changes and cause all of this frustration. So during the entire time, you get like that initial like happy feeling as a creator or as a business owner who is the entrepreneur who has the idea. But by the time you end, you have argued with these people so much that you kind of like are at the end. You're kind of like, oh, I'm so tired of this. Just take it, and then I need a break before I do it again. So it's something that over time it wears you down. But with on the other side, with additive manufacturing, you're going to get exactly what you did, like exactly what you see on the screen. You're going to get it here. On top of all of that, you can actually plan your business. You can, because you know you're going to get A, and now you can, or the most important thing to know here is that right now, every company, they make the product, and then they show it to people. So you make it, and then people see it, and then they buy. And whatever they don't buy, it's thrown away or becomes waste or whatever. So the actual path right now is make, see, buy. But with additive manufacturing, we can get to see, buy, make. We can create something, we can show that to our fans and our people that follow us and like our designs, and they can tell us what they really think. And the beautiful thing about social media, people don't hold back. Unlike the internal companies where you go to a meeting and people hold back, social media people don't care on social media. If they think something sucks, they'll tell you that sucks. And you want to know that from the very beginning because it's your business. You want to make sure that you give people what they want. And by making something, and the most exciting thing is that you might even pre-sale something before you even make it. So now you have all the funding and you can proceed from then on. So how do I like the final results after it was designed in 3D and how it came out? It actually comes out so much like what you see on the screen that's what's unbelievable. That you see it and it's confirmation that it works, and the confirmation that it works gives you faith, which in business is something like, look, people frown upon. It gives you, but it does give you faith, and it gives you, forget faith, it gives you confidence. You have so much confidence that I can now, like, if we work together and we do something from a business point, I can confidently put something out there and show it to the market and say, hey, this is for sale, and we can make it, guaranteed we can make it. And we can make infinite amounts of them, and they're all going to be the same. The quality is going to be the same.